Seminole Golf Club in tiny Juno Beach, Florida, north of West Palm Beach, may be the quintessential Donald Ross design. It's known for its broad fairways, restrained green undulations, and vast variety of bunkers. Did E.F. Hutton, the club's founder, ever envision the place Seminole would hold in golf history? The club opened in 1930, and it was the last course Ross built along the ocean, separated from the Atlantic by low dunes. As a member of Golf Digest's 100 Greatest, the 7,305-yard par 72 Seminole has never finished out of the top 20. It's truly a mecca for the greats of the game, from exalted amateurs like Billy Joe Patton to William C. Campbell. 9 Walker Cup captains were or are members of the club. For years, Ben Hogan used Seminole as his annual warm-up for the Masters and sang its praises the way Sinatra sang of New York. If you can play well there, you can play well anywhere. This is every hole at Seminole Golf Club. Ross usually started a round with a docile opening hole. A gentle handshake, he called it. Seminole's first hole is a rather firm one with bunkers flanking both the landing area and the putting surface. The fairway is wider than it looks from the tee, but the green is definitely narrow. The panoramic opening hole sets the philosophical tone of the entire design. Generous off the tees, tight around the greens. The par 4 second provides the first of 11 encounters with the distinctive 30-foot high sand ridge that runs along the western edge of the course. The second shot is a testy one, a mid-iron uphill to a well-trapped green that sits on a shelf halfway up the ridge. The slopes along this ridge have always exposed more sand than grass, and that aspect has been enhanced on a recent course renovation by the team of Bill Coore and Ben Crenshaw. The third runs 30 feet downhill to a diagonal fairway, then swings around a string of bunkers on the right. It then heads back up the ridge, past more bunkers that point in unison toward the most undulating green on the course. This is not an original Donald Ross green. In 1957, golf architect Dick Wilson built a new one, 50 yards beyond the old one to give the hole additional length. The long par 4 fourth lives up to its reputation as one of the 100 toughest holes in all of golf. Running atop the sand ridge, number 4 is always windblown, often with a quartering wind that brings into play the bunkers left and right that squeeze into the corridor. The approach is a classic Donald Ross domed green that slopes right to left and back to front. It's a very, very difficult green to hit and hold. There's an expression at Seminole, greens visited in regulation. Facing the opposite direction as the 4th, the bold par 3 5th plays slightly downhill to a good-sized green that's dwarfed by sand. Ross's original design featured a single bunker across the front. Wilson later broke that into 4 smaller ones. Coore and Crenshaw removed 2 of them, but retained 4 others on the sides and the back. This is the first of perhaps the finest set of par 3s in golf. The key to Seminole is playing the short holes well. The gorgeous 6th hole was Hogan's favorite in the world. The tee shot is over sand to another diagonal fairway, this one sloping noticeably left to right. Players must often hit their second shots from below the diagonal string of bunkers that lead to the hourglass-shaped putting surface. Seminole's 7th plays down off the sand ridge to a wide fairway, embraced by a necklace of traps. The second shot is a forced carry over water, and if the wind is in one's face, the 50 yards of pond suddenly seem like an ocean, especially when the pin is in the front left. Like all of Seminole's greens, the 7th is a pedestal with bunkers recessed into its sides. At its maximum length of 265 yards, Seminole's 8th almost plays like a par 3.5. The first bunker on the right poses an optical illusion. From the tee, it seems right in front of the green, but it's actually 50 yards short. The hole demands a wood off the tee, but there's plenty of room as it's the biggest putting surface on the course. Members like to quote Dick Harmon here, "Swing hard in case you hit it." From the tee, the 9th fairway is forgiving, but well down the fairway it's pinched by lagoons that in Ross's day were just narrow ditches. Ross's original blueprint had the green lying straight ahead, but during construction he relocated it well to the left, a distinct turn at the end of the hole, which brings into play a big sand bunker short left. As we make the turn, let's pause for a libation and perhaps some signature ginger snap cookies in the locker room. Here, one will find the best 4 walls in golf this side of the Royal and Ancients Great Room in St. Andrews. Built by the architect Marion Sims Wyeth, it matches the graceful design of the Spanish-style clubhouse. Vast, open, and airy, with high cypress beam ceilings and wooden lockers accenting the carved panel doors. Copied, but never equaled in locker rooms the world over. Look up and you'll see tournament boards with gold leaf names of America's titans of industry and giants of golf. Check out the scorecard framed by the bar. In what looks like a ringer score is Claude Harmon's course record of 60, shot in 1947. The par 4 10th runs parallel to the par 4 first hole, but is so much different. A pond on the left and a bunker on the right tighten the landing area for big hitters. The green sits on a diagonal with water in front and left and has only a bit of room to bail out to the right. While shelves in the front and back of this green have been softened, it still has plenty of contour. Like the second hole, the 11th plays over water and up the slope to a sand ridge. The pond is in play on the right side of this hole, and unlike the second, the 11th green is all the way on top of the ridge. With 2 bunkers short of the green, the tendency is to overclub on the approach, and that's okay as it's a very long green. What had once been a slight canal on the 12th has been expanded into a pond in front of the tee, connecting to a stream all along the left side of the 12th fairway. This hole was designed as a drive and pitch par 4, anticipating short iron approach shots, where the green is the most heavily bunkered of any 2-shot hole on the course. 13, the shortest par 3 at Seminole, is perhaps its most natural. The diagonal green is benched atop low sand dunes with the Atlantic Ocean just beyond, which is visible from the green but not the tee. 9 bunkers surround this narrow, angular putting surface, where the prevailing winds will often intercept shots, sending them to the traps on the right. The first of back-to-back par 5s at Seminole plays due west from atop an ocean dune. The green is halfway up the sand ridge, fronted by a fearsome bunker, so there's very little hope of bouncing a second shot to the putting surface. For those not attempting to reach the green in 2, lagoons on the left and right demand perfect placement of any layup. The sprawling dogleg right par 5 15th is a favorite of Crenshaw because it provides distinct options. You can cut off 100 yards by driving to the right-hand peninsula fairway at the risk of hitting into the wide water hazard. Or you can take the longer, safer left-hand route and play it as a 3-shot hole. Palms and bunkers separate the 2 routes, which were dubbed long ago as Highways 1 and A1A. The sharp dogleg right par 4 is the first of 3 great finishing holes. For decades, the right side of the fairway featured a long snake-like bunker that defined the turn. But during their recent renovation, Core and Crenshaw removed it in favor of a wider landing area with 2 smaller traps being positioned well to the right. Approach shots to this diagonally perched green often play into the teeth of the wind. The par 3 17th plays in the same southerly direction as the par 3 5th, but this hole is a downhill shot over dunes to a green complex that looks like a crab resting on the beach. This green is much deeper than the 5th, but half as wide. The par 4 closing hole at Seminole originally played straight away below the dunes. Now it's a dogleg left from elevated tees to a diagonal fairway below, with the green sitting high on a sand dune shelf. This is a Dick Wilson green built in 1957, and it provides both a dramatic finish and one final vista of the circuit. The full appeal of Seminole is not just these holes, but the people who play them. Ben Hogan and all those Walker Cuppers. The heroes of golf history have walked these fairways. Seminole is a golf place.